Good players come and good players go, but legends never die. Calvin Johnson, aka Megatron, could have been the greatest receiver in history, even better than Randy Moss or Jerry Rice. But after losing him to retirement at age 30, we'll sadly never know just how high his career numbers could have climbed. It's important to remember the joy we felt when he was playing, rather than the pain we felt when he wasn't. At the peak of his powers, he might have been the most dominant ever. After finishing 2011 with 1,681 yards, he followed that up with the single season record 1,964. Every week, defenses were in shambles. Megatron demolished any corner, double teams, triple teams, it really didn't matter. Heading into 2013, he was great and only getting better. How would he follow up his record-breaking season and maybe even top it? 329 yards, one single game. Heading into week 8, the Lions and Cowboys both sat at 4-3. Calvin was coming off a 2-touchdown, 155-yard performance against the Bengals, but injuries were starting to weigh on him. In this season, he appeared on the injury report from week 4 all the way through the end. Then immediately after, had surgery to repair his right knee and broken finger. He wasn't even healthy during this game, and neither was his number 2 receiver Nate Burleson, who didn't play. After 155 yards the week before and no number 2, the Cowboys were going to focus all of their attention on Megatron, but that didn't stop him from making history. As the game began, he surprisingly didn't appear to be the focal point of the game plan. He only had one target and was held catchless through the first 2 drives. But then, with 3 minutes left in the first quarter, things started getting real. The Cowboys assigned cornerback number 39 Brandon Carr to shadow Megatron throughout the game, and early on they trusted him to play press coverage at the line. The Lions start an empty and motion running back Reggie Bush back inside to confirm its man coverage. Then watch as Stafford touches his mask and Megatron immediately does the same. This alerts him to break his slant quicker into the underneath window. This is the Megatron play on Scott Linehan's play sheet. It's a designed play action screen to get Calvin one-on-one against the safety in open space. Check out the 2 receivers at the top. This is a pass, but they're not running routes. They're basically run blocking, which creates just enough room for Megatron. The Lions are hoping the Cowboys are playing this cover 1 man so they can create space inside by manipulating this linebacker to take away Carr's inside help and put him on an island. If you're pressing Calvin Johnson, you're going to get blown up, but what's key on this play is getting the linebackers out of the middle. To make sure this play would be successful, Linehan had set it up 8 minutes earlier. The Lions used the same run action from the same formation. Though it's flipped, they're in shotgun with Bush away from the play side tight end. They're running power, which pulls the backside guard through the C-gap for Bush to follow. The Cowboys' second level crashes hard enough that Linehan knew the Megatron screen had a shot. So back to the 87-yarder, we can see Bush now on the right with the tight end on the left and the guard pulling to make it look identical. Linebackers key the guards to determine pass or run, so when they see one pulling, they trigger upfield. Ernie Sims crashes hard and is out of position. Here's something you don't normally see on play action. Left tackle Riley Reef fakes his block, then releases upfield to pin a linebacker to give Megatron room. This was called for 1 man and 1 man only. How explosive was Calvin with the ball in his hands? Safety Barry Church barely even touches him, and bad knee be damned, he runs for 87 yards. You can't press him because of his strength, arm length, and menacing raw power. Megatron quickly closes the space between him and Carr, basically inviting contact, and creates an easy 2 yards of separation by pushing Carr completely out of the play. His acceleration, even with a bad knee, is crazy for someone this big. On this record-setting day, it actually could have been even bigger. He finished with 1 touchdown, but was tackled inside the 5-yard line 4 different times, and 2 of those came inside the 1. There's a couple of routes that he inflicted the most damage on throughout his career, and if you're Brandon Carr, those are always in the back of your mind. In the second quarter, 3 minutes after the dig route we just watched, the Lions are in their 2-minute drill and trailing 10-7. Carr had been burned enough playing press, and was beginning to back off Megatron Megatron to give himself more of a cushion. Stafford uses the same face mask hand signal, and it's on. Linehan and the Lions discovered from the Cowboys' in-game tendencies that when they start in a too-high shell, they either drop both safeties back to play cover 2 zone, or drop one underneath and play cover 3 buzz. From this shell, they played 3 buzz 20 times. 18 of those times, safety Jeff Heath aligned to the strength of the formation, the side with the nickel corner, and in 15 of those 18 plays, he was the one rotating deep and Barry Church would drop down. So though Heath was rotating towards Megatron, there would be space between them and behind Church. Carr knows he loves the dig route like we just saw, as well as the sting route, where he stems to the corner, then breaks back to the post. Calvin starts inside, and since the Cowboys are playing cover 3, Carr is not pressing and instead is zone bailing while allowing a huge cushion. Megatron stems to the corner to attack his blind spot, then starts to go to the post, which sends Carr way deep to protect over the top. But this isn't Sting, it's the Sting's stop. Calvin snaps off his route, and Stafford hits him perfectly between the numbers. Then, he gives Carr the business. Stafford played at an extremely high level throughout this game, and it was obvious how strong of a connection he and Megatron had. Right away, he sees Heath breaking to the middle of the field and Church buzzing down, so he knows there will be space for the Sting stop. But since it's such a long developing route, he can't just stare it down until it comes open. He turns to his right to hold the entire defense, but has no intention to throw there. Then immediately fires the ball to Megatron. It takes years and years to develop this kind of rapport. It's crazy how early he released the ball even before Calvin was getting out of his break. Here's when he picks him up, and he's starting his motion just before Megatron starts to the post. The pass is perfect and right on time, and Megatron picks up 21 yards to bring him to 156 at halftime. The performance was legendary, but it was not without mistakes. Calvin fumbled this ball and dropped a pass that was intercepted. The Lions turned the ball over 4 different times. In the 2 years prior, teams who had lost the turnover battle by 4 or more were 1-55. But Megatron and the Lions never gave up. Brandon Carr was reduced to really only 2 jobs as the game went on. He would either zone bail in cover 3 zone, or he would play press coverage as a cloud corner, but only in cover 2 when he had safety help over the top. Watch Stafford give a hard count to get him and both safeties to jump. Carr falls forwards, which tells Megatron he's going to press. He even yells in frustration, and the safeties creep back, telling Megatron the Cowboys are in cover 2 zone. He's running the dig route in the Lions' domino concept, and when he knows the coverage pre-snap, it's too easy. He just has to find the space behind the linebackers and in front of the safeties. Domino works against most types of zone coverage. The pivot route holds the linebackers underneath and creates windows for the dig. Stafford releases well before Megatron comes open, and he picks up 22 yards before turning it over. Stafford knows what coverage is coming since he got them to jump, and is excellent at manipulating defenders. He's looking off Sean Lee to the left to create space for Domino, but look at his footwork and torso. He's looking left, but there's no way he's throwing left. He's just holding the defense to that side. He takes a step up, the pivot holds the linebacker, and he throws way before Megatron comes open. This was his worst play of the game, but in the end, he would make the Cowboys pay. Calvin knows he's getting pressed, so he uses a burst release to dive inside and away from the contact. He wants to release as quickly as possible to find that soft spot in zone coverage. He jabs outside a step to hold Carr, then dives inside and pushes off to come free. And look how he pushes vertical instead of straight to the spot. This forces the safety to stay deep, and when he turns around, the ball is right there. Carr had a historically brutal day, but I give him credit for battling his ass off every single play and recovering the fumble. When the fourth quarter began, the Lions were down 13-7 and Megatron at 195 yards. It was clear he was banged up, but he was about to explode. Stafford gives another hard count, which gets Heath to jump into what's pretty clearly cover 2 zone. So this alerts both Stafford and Megatron that Carr will have safety help over the top and will probably be pressing. They're running a mirrored concept they call Java Right 7's H jerk. They'd run it a few times already, but Stafford kept hitting the flat route a little too early before Megatron's corner came open. It's the perfect play call against cover 2 zone because it vertically stretches the cloud corner and attacks the weakness in the coverage. Stafford gives a pump fake to the flat to hold Carr, but He knows where this ball's going. Megatron has the option to break flat to the sideline or skinny to the flag. It looks like there's a ton of space, but windows close quick, so the pass and catch have to be perfect. Stafford throws a laser, and Megatron makes another iconic catch. Since he knows he's getting cloud coverage from Carr, he uses the same burst release to beat him. He again pushes vertical to hold the safety, then makes this crazy catch. It's incredibly rare to see this kind of fluidity and grace from anybody. It kinda reminds me of Lynn Swann's catch from Super Bowl X, except Calvin's so much bigger, it's like if Lynn Swann ate Lynn Swann. As the fourth quarter was winding down, the action was heating up. Both teams started scoring left and right. Dez had a 50-yard touchdown catch, and the Lions trailed 27-17 with 7 minutes left. They'd already run this dagger post concept a couple of times, and it didn't have much success. The primary read is dagger to Stafford's left, with Megatron's deep post kind of a last resort. The Cowboys are again playing cover 3 buzz, with Jeff Heath again aligned to the strength of the formation, so no surprise, he rotates to the deep middle, and Church comes underneath. Stafford knows since Heath's dropping deep and rotating towards Megatron, there will be a tiny window to throw the post if dagger isn't open. He gets immediate pressure and gambles on a 50-50 ball, but those odds are forever in Megatron's favor. Heath can't cut off the pass, and he gets mossed for 54 yards. Stafford needed max protection on this play, but when the D tackle Jason Hatcher spikes the A-gap, he doesn't have much time to read exactly where Megatron is. He tries to reset the pocket and really ends up just chucking the ball downfield. Heath was expecting more of a line drive, so when it's lofted up in the air and he starts backpedaling, it's pretty much over. Calvin actually doesn't really high point the ball or do much to box out Heath or Carr, but just look at how much bigger he is than these NFL players. It looks like he's a teacher playing with students at recess. His physicality creates passive play from both defenders and creates the explosive play the Lions needed to stay in the game. They'd score on the drive, but the Cowboys kicked a field goal with 1 minute left to go up 30-24. With no timeouts left, Stafford, Megatron, and the Lions needed to drive 80 yards to win. Calvin had 2 catches for 39 yards, the second of which put him at 329, and, of course, fell inside the 1-yard line. Stafford ran to the line to spike the ball, then created an iconic moment of his own by leaping over the Cowboys line to win 31-30. To come out on top, the Lions needed every last one of Megatron's 329 yards. That absurd number ended up just 7 shy of the Rams' Flipper Anderson's record of 336, and there were several plays where Megatron was open where he could have broken it. To put this performance into perspective, he had 64 more yards than the entire Cowboys offense, 123 more than Romo had passing, and more than 15 teams' total offensive output for that week. Calvin Johnson is truly one of the all-time greats, and though he played just 9 seasons, they were some of the greatest we've ever seen. When you consider the injuries he endured, both throughout this game and his career, it's good to know his health and well-being are in the right place. Did his career end too early? Yes. And it was a sad day for every single person who's ever watched him play football. But when we look back, let's celebrate that we got to watch him play. What he gave to us each and every Sunday, especially in Week 8 of 2013. One thing is for sure, the legend of Megatron will forever live on.